You're listening to the Stand Up Angler, and my daddy is the host.
All right, well, special thanks to my sweetheart for the introduction, and welcome to the Sustainable Angler, a podcast where we discuss the intersection of fishing, conservation, and sustainability. I'm your host, Rick Crawford. If you're a business owner, have you ever thought about the waste you send to the landfill as a squandered corporate asset? Think about it. You paid for the material and the labor. Then you paid another service provider to haul it to the landfill. Doesn't make much sense, does it? Well, in this episode, I chat with Dylan Coates and Stephen Vaughan of Hobie Eyewear about how they're upcycling kayak manufacturing waste into their best-selling floatable Hobie hull sunglasses. These sunglasses are made from upcycled kayak scraps that were originally destined for the landfill, but are now the number one selling product on Hobie's website, proving that anglers are increasingly demanding more sustainable products and are supporting brands that align with their values. I hope you enjoy. The Sustainable Angler is available anywhere you listen to podcasts and is also airing Saturdays at 2 p.m. on Charleston's first and only community-supported radio station, Home Radio, 96.3 FM. And if you like what you're hearing, an absolutely free way to show your support is by leaving the show a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. This episode of The Sustainable Angler is brought to you by Emerger Strategies and A New Earth Project, the sustainability initiative of Atlantic Packaging. Fly fishing taught me that learning to read a river for trout isn't just about finding fish. It's about understanding an entire ecosystem. At Emerger Strategies, we see this as a perfect metaphor for systems thinking. Each element of the river, from water quality and habitat to the aquatic insects that transform from emergers to adult mayflies, plays a crucial role. And we understand that businesses also play a critical role in the health of the planet. Measuring and improving your company's sustainability performance is the same as protecting your home waters. And responsible business practices ensure that our rivers remain clean, habitats are preserved, and biodiversity thrives for generations to come. Because when you protect what you love, you're not just protecting the planet, you're building a brand that stands for something. At Emerger Strategies, we help your business apply this holistic approach. By integrating sustainability, you not only conserve natural resources, but also create a thriving ecosystem for your business and the planet that you love. Visit our website at emergerstrategies.com to learn more, and let's protect what we love together.
We set out with a New Earth project to really start a movement.
It's a global coalition of people who are deeply concerned and want to accelerate the transition away from problematic packaging to more sustainable solutions.
Our entire value proposition was built on helping companies package things better. We were doing sustainability before sustainability was cool. We just called it packaging optimization. And packaging optimization really is about using less. And we built our whole business on that. You know, people send us their products, their goods, and we help them design packaging systems and solutions for the least possible cost, utilizing the least amount of material. Use less is always the right answer.
And that's what I see with companies like a New Earth Project is it's like, we're just trying to create solutions for big companies and small, that makes it easier for them, cheaper for them, whatever it is, and then has less impact. Not just trying to tell people you should have less impact and making the choice forced on them. Like, make it better for everybody, and it'll make it better for the whole world.
We see the problem, and we are with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Dylan Coates. I'm marketing manager for Hobie Eyewear. Been with the company almost 10 years now. and I handle everything from our events, trade shows, social media, PR outreach, ambassador management, you name it. We say we like to wear a lot of hats in our organization, but it's a good thing because everyone gets to get their hands involved with everything we're doing for the brand.
Cool. How about you, Steven?
So my name is Stephen Vaughan. I'm the Senior Director of Product Development. I've been with Hobie Eyewear for 18 years this October. I'm also, I wouldn't say avid because I'd be overselling it, but I do love to fish. I'm actually going to be going up to the Housatonic River in Connecticut with my son for the next few days, starting next week. So looking forward to doing some smallmouth and trout fishing up there. And of course, I'll be wearing my Hobie eyewear the whole time.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the intro, guys. So to sort of paint a little bit of a picture here, Dylan and Steven and I met a couple weeks ago at ICAST. And I guess maybe we had met the year before at ICAST, but anyway, doesn't matter. I stopped by the booth at ICAST, and I was checking out y'all's brand new sunglasses, which we're going to get into today. It's a sunglass made from some upcycled material. I'm gonna let y'all steal the show on that, but we're going to get more into that here in a little bit. But before we get into that, I'm curious. Hobie has been around for a long time as a company, or at least I was poking around on the website, and it was from, I think, like surfboards to now everything, surfboards, kayaks, sunglasses, you name it. So a very established brand in the outdoor and water sports community. But I'm curious to know a little bit more about Hobie's sustainability efforts as a brand.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you nailed it. Actually, if anyone's watching, got our Hobie 75th logo towel behind me. But the brand has been around for 75 years as of this year. So, just coming up with great products for living life on the water and enjoying the outdoor environments. As far as eyewear goes, as you mentioned, surfboards, Hobie cats, most people know them for their kayaks nowadays. But eyewear's been around since 1982. It was actually founded by one of Hobie Alter's sons. He experimented with polarized film and lenses on the beaches of California to see, how it would affect seeing into the water and, penetrating through the glare. So it's been around that long. People have known it for a very long time now. And, we've been working on it for, Steve, the last 18 years, me the last 10. And we've had a big focus on, making really great fishing sunglasses. That's what you've seen at ICAST. But ultimately, our goal is always, in the spirit of Hobie Alter, to find those challenges that people face on the water and come up with solutions for them. So when it comes to eyewear, what do people need? One of our big things that we've done is our floating collection. If you haven't lost a pair of sunglasses on the water, you haven't spent enough time on the water. So that was the big thing that we brought to market probably like 7 years ago now. And, it's really caught on. People really, really enjoy that, and, not littering their waterways with sunglasses, making it to the bottom of the ocean. So that's been a big thing for us. As far as sustainability goes, we attended countless events and trade shows, and we kept getting the question, what are you guys doing on a sustainability front? How are you incorporating this into, either your packaging, your production process, things like that? So that became our next big challenge of, hey, how can we improve upon those things as we move forward? So when we were out in Oceanside at Hobie's corporate office, taking a tour of their facility, we noticed some of the scrap plastic from when they make their kayaks off to the side. And someone came up with the idea is, it'd be really cool if we could make some sunglasses out of that plastic right there, so it didn't have to go to waste. So obviously that sparked an idea that we became obsessed with for the next few years, and went through multiple rounds of testing and was able to create what is called Hull Float. So that is our brand new sunglass that you saw at ICAST, and it is made from upcycled Hobie kayak plastic. So you can see Steve's holding it up on his camera. The frames, everything is made from that scrap kayak plastic from when they're cutting out the hatches and everything that's left over when they make the Hobie kayaks. So it tells a really great brand story of, hey, the kayak, that is now actually your sunglass. We say what floats your boat because it literally is exactly that. And the sunglasses float, so you're not going to lose them when they go in the water. But yeah, just a great story. Took us a really long time to get it done. We wanted to make sure, it was a new material, that it matched the quality and the standards of our regular sunglasses. We were able to do that. And probably go above and beyond, because everyone that's tried a pair on says this is the most comfortable, lightweight, durable pair of sunglasses I've ever had. So we did a great job with it. Steve's the head of our product design. I know how hard he worked to bring this product to market, and just absolutely crushed it. Aside from that, and I'll let Steve get into more product specifics in a bit, but the lenses are bio-based, so that's sustainable too, as well as all the packaging. The box is recyclable. The microfiber case is made from recycled materials, and the hard case that you see right here is actually made from that same plastic. So everything about this product is 100% sustainable in the way it's made, using materials that otherwise would have gone to waste and finding a new use for them. They float, so they're not going to litter the lake. And to go above and beyond that, we partnered with the Fish America Foundation, and we are donating a portion of sales from all sales of whole float back to their organization to help fund conservation projects and help them restore waterways and fisheries. So really, really proud of that partnership, and a lot of people have been very appreciative of that as well.
Yeah, that's really cool. And just for anyone listening, most folks that listen to this know that I do sustainability consulting, and so one of the things that you're looking at when you're going and looking at a brand is trying to figure out ways that we can minimize waste, whether that's in packaging or in operations. And in this case, it sounds like through the making of the Hobie kayaks, there was some leftover plastic that comes from that process. And I like to think about it. There's actually a sustainability, for any nerds out there like me, there's a guy, Bob Willard, who's someone that I've read all his books. Anyway, he calls waste in manufacturing squandered corporate assets. So it's like that was something that you paid for that was going to go to the dump, but instead you turned it into these new sunglasses, which is really cool. And so that's called upcycling material, something that was destined for the landfill, but is now made into a new product. And I'll get into my story later, but I will have to absolutely agree that I wore them fishing last week and loved how lightweight they were, which was really cool. And they didn't fall in the water, thankfully, but if they did, I knew I'd be able to grab them, which is cool.
Well, you saw them in the tank at iCats, so that was all you needed.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So Stephen, I'm curious, can maybe you walk us through sort of a little bit in more detail for how this upcycled material from Hobie kayaks is transformed into the new sunglasses?
Yeah, sure. So as Dylan indicated, this plastic comes from, so when they rotomold the kayaks, when they come out of that mold, the area that is the hatches is covered over. So then they take like I guess like a router, and they cut that hole out, and then trim it and this and that, so it's ready for the lid that goes on it. And then they ground that plastic up, and it looks kind of like these little pieces here. So these are like two different color kayaks. We have like the sand colored one here. And so what we did was we said, all right, could you ground that down even finer into these little pellets here, if that's not focusing, but into these little pellets, so that they can go into our sunglass frame injection mold. And then that's how you end up with this sunglass right here. So where the R&D came in, because grinding it down, throwing it into the mold, that was easy enough. But we had to really make sure we were picking a good style for the fishermen overall. So this is a good, just all around wrap style. And it's funny because you were talking about how light they felt. The one thing that we kind of backed into a few things that were unexpected with this glass. First of all, it floats. And some people might say, well, yeah, it's made out of kayak plastic, but flotation with a water vessel is about water displacement, not the buoyancy of the material itself. But fortunately, it does actually float. And so when we paired that with our bio-based nylon lenses, we had a product that was made out of kayak plastic, but then also floats, which is a win-win for us because it just tags on to our already extremely successful floating collection. And then the other part of it was fit. The kayak plastic material is a little bit softer, a little bit more pliable, which is great because it allows it, instead of fitting a little tighter like traditional, like non-floating plastic sunglasses might. This one, when we were at Bassmaster Classic, it was the first time we were selling these directly to the consumer at an event. And we have like our small, medium, large styles. If someone was like, nah, this one's a little too tight, or this one, whatever, we'd say, all right, you know what? Try this one on. And like all three of us could wear this style and feel comfortable wearing it. And it got to the point where the minute we just directed everyone here first, and only if they said, no, I need something bigger, it's like, all right, well, I do have something bigger, or I need something smaller. But this became like kind of like the Goldilocks style, that it was just like, it was the perfect fit for like way more people than we ever expected, because it would otherwise be considered like a medium to large sort of fit. So anyway, so we played around. We wanted the styling. We wanted something that was like really good for fishing, something that like hit that sweet spot of fit. Turns out we hit a broad spectrum of fits, which was really nice. We had to experiment with different designs. We wanted to make sure that it was durable. Some styles have maybe very small hinge areas, which is okay when you're using denser non-floating plastic. But because this is softer plastic, we wanted to make sure that this was going to stand the test of time. We sourced the lenses because we wanted to expand the sustainability story beyond the frames. So we were able to find and develop these bio-based lenses. And it just took a lot of iterations. We made some adjustments here and there. You'll see that the logo is, you can't see it too well. Yeah, there you go. The logo is molded in. That was a thing that we did also to minimize the materials being used. So rather than having a metal plaque, which a metal plaque is also going to work against you buoyancy wise, or doing like a foil logo, we just thought it would look nice and kind of raw, and also contributes to the sustainability by not having any materials that might at some point get lost or peel off or something on this kind of plastic. We joke around, we say the only thing we haven't figured out yet is the screws. But we're going to figure out how to make those sustainable too. I'm sure we can find them made of recycled metal material. And then, like Dylan said, the microfiber case that comes with it, the cleaning cloth microfiber case, this is made of recycled microfiber material. And the hard case that it comes with is made of the same kayak material. It's a really nice felt-lined hard case. And so that's like a nice addition to the collection. And we have 4 different lenses, so pretty much anything a fisherman could want. So we have our basic gray lens. So a gray lens it's a good all-around lens. It's what they call like a neutral tint. So it just darkens all of the light spectrum evenly. Then we get into our contrast enhancing lenses. And then we also have gray with a blue mirror. So this is really good for fishermen who are either saltwater fishing or out in the open water. It's when you want the polarization to reduce the reflected glare, but maybe sight fishing isn't exactly what you're doing. So if you're like out in the open water and you're like tuna fishing, you're not looking into the water and sight fishing at all. You just want that reflection to be as minimized as possible. But then, especially if you're freshwater fishing or inshore fishing or anywhere where you're doing sort of sight fishing, could be bone fishing, this copper lens with our sea green mirror is a contrast enhancing lens. So now it'll make different colors pop more than others, like reds in particular pop, which is great if you're fishing for like brook trout or brown trout. They have those little dots on the back, the red on them and stuff like that. And so that's a really good lens tint for freshwater fishing or anywhere where you're looking for structure or looking not to hit rocks and things like that. It makes things pop in the water a lot more. And then an extension to that one is our Sightmaster lens. So this is a yellow-based lens. And the Sightmaster is great for low light conditions. So that can be early in the morning, late at night, super cloudy, but also in conditions where you're sight fishing. That's why we call it our Sightmaster lens. And so a lot of people use that for flats fishing and stuff like that. This was also one where we initially thought of it as a more situational lens, and it is largely, but we are surprised by how many fishermen are like, no, that's my go-to. Like, I'll wear that all day long. For me, it's a little on the bright side on a very sunny day, but some people, they just love it so much. And you know how it is with fishing, right? There's a million different rods, reels, lures, and everything. When you home in on like what works for you and what you like, you're going to use it, So yeah, that lens has been very popular in the fishing community for us.
Well,
that's kind of soup to nuts how we kind of developed it and what the product has become.
well, just out of my own curiosity and kind of on the subject of lens. So a bio-based lens, how does that compare to a non-bio-based lens? And you'll have to pardon my ignorance because I don't really know much about sunglass lenses.
A typical lens is made mostly of like different plastics and polymers and stuff. Okay. Usually they're polycarbonate. Okay. That's the typical premium sunglass lens for like active sportswear and stuff like that. There are glass lenses too. Although that's not as popular as it used to be back in the day, partly because the technology has gotten so much better on plastic-based lenses. They're lighter, they're less expensive, they're impact resistant. I wouldn't want to take a jig head to the face with glass lens versus I'd rather have polycarbonate or a nylon. Nylon is slightly more, not that it's buoyant, but it's less dense and less wanting to sink than polycarbonate. So in our floating collection, we use nylon-based lenses. They have actually slightly better optics than polycarbonate, but the average person would never see the difference. They're both premium optics. And so the bio-based part is the nylon lens is actually also blended together with castor oil. Okay. I wish I could tell you the details of how that all works. Yeah. But it's just reducing the amount of plastic in the lens and using more natural materials or what's the word for it? Well, sustainable materials, bio-based.
Yeah. You just using more sustainable materials and not having to use as much like virgin plastic. Okay. All right. Yeah. No, I was just curious. All right. Cool. So what about this could be for either one of y'all, but I was just kind of when I was looking at y'all's website, it seems like Hobie has always been an innovative company. Like it's always innovating with something. I'm curious. It seems like these new lenses are an extension of that, right? And that's it's like using sustainability as a way to drive innovation. And I'm curious and just sort of this process if y'all could either elaborate a little bit on that being an extension of just how y'all's brand operates, and also if there were challenges that y'all faced in saying, okay, if we're going to do this, because it sounds like y'all did quite a bit of research leading up to the launch. So I'm just curious, just for anyone listening who's curious about how stuff like this gets made, like what sort of challenges y'all had to overcome and bringing that to market.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You nailed it. Hobie has prided itself on innovation, and not only that, but accessibility as well. Taking activities like a sailing that was, only made for very affluent people at yacht clubs or things like that, and coming out with the Hobie Cat that now, more like the everyday average person could get on there. It's easy to use. They can quickly learn how to do it, and it's not going to cost as much as getting like a yacht or a sailboat. So We do the same thing with our eyewear. Like you mentioned, we're always finding that challenge and a solve for it. So when it came to people just asking us about sustainability, us finding that the customer that likes to spend time in the water is definitely looking to connect with brands that have more of a focus on it. That became very, very important to us. As far as accessibility goes, we're priced right. We're priced 80 to 120, and you're going to get the same premium quality in our product as a $300 sunglass brand. So we truly believe that we have the best glasses on the market, and we want people to be able to access them and not have to break the bank. So if you're someone that has spent $250 on a pair of sunglasses and you've lost them in the water and literally watch your investment sink, everyone's done it. We wanted to solve that. We want to say, hey, you can buy a pair that you're not going to have that negative experience with, and you only have to spend, call it $100. So you're spending half the price to get a product that's just as good, is not going to sink on you. And it's also really good for, maybe younger anglers that are just getting involved in fishing. And as they get a little bit more serious, they want to upgrade their gear. They don't want to get a pair of gas station sunglasses with poor optics. They want to find something better, but not have to spend $200-$300. So we're a great brand for someone that says, hey, let me try the premium stuff without overspending. So that it's really good on that front. As far as the challenges, like I said, I think it was just trying to make sure that these sunglasses lived up to the reputation and quality of what we already had in the market. So whether that had undergone several rounds of testing and just making sure that material was going to fit, look, feel, everything on par with what we're already doing.
Yeah, just real quick, I just commend y'all, right? Because it's, ultimately it's a risk, and you're going, all right, well, maybe this is going to work, maybe it's not, but let's give it a shot. And it sounds like it did work out great. So I'm stoked to hear that.
Yeah, and a very important part of the development of a project like this is engaging with the professional fishermen. Like I said, I'm casual fisherman at best. I could surely take them out, go fishing with them, and say, yeah, they did the job for me. But I'm not competing at the highest level. We want to be making glasses that the pros want to wear, and they do wear them. They wear our other styles, they wear this style now. And so, whether it's top kayak fishermen, top Bassmaster fishermen, or people coming up in the ranks, we're hitting all those people, and they're fishing in all different situations. So, there were a lot of people, they had to sign their little NDAs and remember to take those glasses off before they did any Instagram posts that day and stuff. But we had this product out there for probably a year, being worn by people at all levels of fishing prior to saying, okay, we're happy with it, it's good, and we're gonna pull the trigger and launch this product. So that was a very fun experience, because it's always great when you can engage with those people, and we have a really good stable of quality fishermen and women that we work with. So
that's really cool. And so you mentioned that the professional anglers are happy with it, but out of curiosity, I mean, so far, how have customers responded to this product come in the market, and are y'all seeing demand for more sustainable products in the fishing and outdoor space as sort of a result of this launch?
Yes, absolutely. So, we've always had people come up to our booth, whether it's a trade show and it's, retailers, media, or if we're at an event like the Bassmaster Classic where it's just consumers that we're talking to. They'll see our sunglasses floating in the tank. They'll be like, oh, that's so cool. I need to get a pair of those. We'll have people come up to us and be like, I heard about your Sightmaster lenses. Can I check those out? But we've never had anyone really come up and demand to see one singular product. And this is the first time that we've seen that change. The word has gotten out there. People are really fascinated by how this product is made and what it stands for. And whether it was Bassmaster or iCast, consumers, people in the industry, they were coming up to our booth and they're like, I need to see the whole floats. I've seen the videos, I've read about them, but I need to see them. I need to try them on. So the demand has definitely been there. On a retail level, it's sold in very well. I think people are really buying into the story. And on a consumer level, same thing. We're at the Bassmaster Classic, our best-selling style the entire weekend. On our website this year, I believe it's the number 1 and 3 selling SKU. Wow. Definitely the number 1 style. So people have really responded, I think, not only to the sustainability factor of how we're making this product, but also the partnership with the Fish America Foundation and going above and beyond and doing things that are going to help the environment from just beyond the product standpoint.
Yeah, I came back from ICAST and I was like right away contacted the Hobie kayak factory. I was like, get me some more plastic right away because the demand from there, but plus the actual sales that have been happening have just been like lit up, and it's been very exciting. But now we're like, ooh, we got to get more product in the pipeline fast.
Well, now you are going to have to start getting on the Hobie kayak sales guys and say, y'all better start selling some more kayaks. We need more sunglasses.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, that's really cool. And about the Fish America Foundation, right? That's y'all donating a portion of sales to them. Just for anyone out there who maybe isn't as familiar with them, what type of I assume it's a nonprofit and they're doing good conservation work, but can y'all tell the listeners out there a little bit more about those guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Fish America Foundation is actually the American Sport Fishing Association, ASA's conservation branch. So they've been partnered together for a while now, and they are focused on restoring fisheries, aquatic habitats, enhancing them so that future generations can continue to enjoy them. And they don't get polluted, they don't get destroyed, they just get enhanced over time. So that's definitely been a really, really cool thing for us to see. And I think one of the other just best parts of this partnership is, that was an idea we brought to them and they were all about it. Since then, it's really gotten a lot of positive feedback, and there's been some other bigger brands that have now jumped on ship with helping to support Fish America Foundation, which is great. The more brands that can support an organization like that is going to be better for everyone involved in the industry. So I think they announced a couple of those partnerships at ICAST, but they've kind of let us know, like, you guys have kind of reawakened what we're doing with this organization and brought some really good attention to it. So we're really proud to hear that, because it definitely proves that we're helping to make a positive difference.
Yeah, and I mean it makes sense, right, for all fishing brands to do everything to protect and restore habitat. You're going to ultimately sell more products that way, and enhancing the fisheries that your business depends on. So it's a no-brainer. I'm glad that y'all shined a spotlight on that for them.
Yep. And then the other thing I want to bring out is just, an activism standpoint, just, how the average person can just get involved. So Steve mentioned we have some really great relationships with the professional anglers that we work with and anglers of all level. But we've been working with Carl Jochimson, Bassmaster Elite Series angler, for 3 years now. And when we started talking to him, he mentioned that lake cleanups are a big part of what he is doing and trying to enhance. He has his brand Fear My Heart, which is all about overcoming challenges, persevering through adversity. And kind of what he's turned that into is the Fear My Heart cleanups. So it started in Knoxville in 2023, ahead of the Classic. We were there helping support that lake cleanup, donating product. I was literally picking up trash, and I walked away from that event just kind of like overwhelmed with positivity, because you get a small group of people there for a few short hours and you see how much trash comes out of the waterways, and you're kind of blown away by it. But then you just kind of feel really good, like, wow, like we did that. We helped make a difference today. So he had another one last year that we supported, and then this year he wanted to expand that even further, and he did the worldwide lake cleanup. So he had his flagship event at Lake Chickamauga in Tennessee, but he was aiming to clean, close to 100 lakes all over the world in one weekend. He got up to 70, and we actually organized 2 of our own cleanups. So we had a pretty large cleanup in my area, Jordan Lake, North Carolina, and then Steve helped to facilitate one up at Jones Beach, New York. So we contributed to 2 of those 70, and we had really good turnouts at both, and pulled a lot of trash out of the water as well. But that was just a really, really cool part or initiative for us to be part of, working with him.
No.
The feedback he's gotten from that is great. And once again, like I don't want to say it's easy, but it was hard to get the product to market. It's easy to write a check to someone. A harder part is actually donating your time and getting out there and literally picking trash up and making a difference in that aspect. But that's something that's really important to us and that we want to continue to enhance and just make bigger in years to come.
Yeah, and I think too, just all of us as anglers, I mean, it's kind of our duty and responsibility to do what we can. And there's something really inspiring and special about getting your hands dirty, and actually going out there and doing some work. So that's really cool. And I'll just say, because I've got y'all's packaging here too. What's cool is that you've got sunglasses that are already made from something that was going to the landfill, most likely, I assume. I don't know, but the leftover plastic from the kayak, so it's upcycled. You got these bio-based lenses. You've got the case. You've got all this, but also when you talk about going on any type of cleanup, you just get an idea of how much plastic is out there of all sorts, and a ton of plastic packaging. So another cool thing about these glasses is that this is looks blurry on my end, but this packaging is made with recycled materials, or I think, or is
It is.
made with recycled materials and can be recycled. So this is essentially harmless to fish and marine life. If this for some reason blew out of your boat or whatever the case may be, you want to recycle it. But it's also cool to see brands addressing more sustainable packaging options. I know that it happens to everyone. You don't want it to happen, but you're fishing, the wind picks up, or you're going and a little baggie flies out and it's gone, right? You wish that it wouldn't have happened, but it happens. And this is just another cool little attribute of these lenses. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just bringing awareness to that is a huge part of this product as well. We'd love to sell millions of pairs of these and be able to donate millions of dollars back to Fish America Foundation. And, that would be great. We love the sunglasses. We think everyone should own a pair. But at the end of the day, if we're able to just educate people and anglers that are spending time on the water to saying, hey, be mindful of your trash making its way into the water. Or if you're out there and you see something, just pick it up, discard it. It's very easy to do. Bring one trash bag on your boat with you in your kayak, and just if you see something, just throw it out. You'd be surprised if everyone did that, how big a difference it actually would make.
Yeah, I have a kayak that I fish out of, and that's kind of my thing. Is like part of the deal is I try and find at least something that I can pull out of the water every time, just to be able to get it out of the waterway. So it's really cool. All right, so I'm curious, looking ahead, do y'all see this sort of upcycled line maybe expanding into other products or categories or anything like that? Because y'all have already seen so much success. I mean, you said it's #1 selling product, right? So just curious, as y'all look ahead, is that something that y'all are starting to think more about and the products y'all are bringing to market?
More than just thinking about it, it's in development.
Okay, cool.
So one of the first requests we got almost right away was, do you have a lifestyle complement to this glass? And so we're working on the next style would probably be a lifestyle one for more casual wear, not necessarily, on the water competing, but just, just something nice to wear at the beach or wherever you may be. So working on that. And then few people have also said like, oh, what if we did like special colors? Like, like some, even though they're crazy colors, the product itself just like inspires this kind of thing. But like, what if you made, I think this one is, I forget what this color is called, but there's the orange one, which is called papaya. I think this is hibiscus red, they call this one. And so we're like, oh yeah, we can experiment with that. So we might do something with like limited edition colors, have a little fun with it, lifestyle glass. And then, yeah, I mean, it is still early, but the early reads have been fantastic with this style, the Hull style. and sales have been great. So no reason we wouldn't start expanding that into more and more styles and having a bit of fun with it.
Yeah, with the demand we've already seen for this product, I can only imagine if there was a colorway that looked exactly like your kayak, how quickly that would sell.
That's what I was thinking. That would be pretty cool.
So that's our next task at hand that
Yeah.
we got a solution for.
Well, so part of I love seeing brands able to clearly sort of make the business case for sustainability, right? You're going, hey, we looked at this. We're solving a waste problem. We're bringing in a new product, and it seems to me it's pretty clear that the business case is an increase in sales, and it's a pretty much a home run, which is awesome. But if there are any other brands listening out there, and I'm not talking about sunglass brands, whatever. I'm just saying in general. Would y'all have any advice for any other brands that are thinking about using recycled or upcycled materials from y'all's experience so far?
I mean, I would say I would encourage it. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that can find a way to upcycle or recycle or reuse materials, there's only a benefit there. Clearly the consumer that's spending time outdoors on the water, they would like to see that from the brands that they work with. It makes them feel extra special about buying those products. So I would say it's definitely a worthwhile to look into that. And then outside of that, just find great organizations like Fish America to help support. That goes a long way as well. People definitely appreciate that. And then, the lake cleanups, as I mentioned, everyone can get involved with that. So if you're a company and you're listening and you think, how can I make a difference, in the short term, just organize a lake cleanup with your employees, friends and family in your community. And, like I said, you'd be surprised how much trash you would unfortunately pull out of that waterway. But when you definitely see that big pile at the end and, a dumpster full of it, you feel really good because you know that you helped out the environment and you made a huge positive difference.
Cool.
And from the product development side, I would say dare to think out of the box. And sometimes it's easier than you think, right? So when this idea first came up, we were like, we don't know if it could be done, but we're confident that we'll figure it out. It could have been that this plastic was never going to be good for that, right? Mm-hmm. But in this case, it was, and it was easy. It took a lot of time, right? But we weren't splitting atoms here either. So it was a very well thought out project. We were very cautious about it because the exciting thing about it is that it's never been done before.
Yeah.
And that was what really brought the true joy to us because, and I'm not knocking this down at all, but there's lots of brands that do recycled fishing nets or made out of plastic bottles, and those are all great. But a lot of brands are doing it, right? And in this case, when this came up, we were like, no one does this. Like, if we could make this work and be the first one. And honestly, we're the first one, but we don't want to be the only one because there's other brands of kayaks out there, and maybe it's not kayak material, maybe it's something else, maybe it's parts from other boats or whatever it may be, right? But yeah, just I know it's a cliche, think outside the box, but yeah, just try it. I mean, we tried it and it worked. If it didn't work, again, it's the Hobie brand. We innovate. We would have figured out something else. We wanted to do something different. We wanted to do something first, and we wanted to have a really good time doing it. And ultimately, we want to bring a great product to the consumer and to the fishermen, especially those who are competing at the highest levels. And so that's what was so rewarding about this particular project.
Well, that's really cool.
The more brands doing this, we could win together. That's, it's a huge win for everybody. And, just everyone getting on board. It doesn't matter what kind of company you are. It's a win for the environment. It's a win for the consumer. And, it's a win for your company as well. Cool.
All right. Well, thank you all for sharing that story, but I can't let y'all go without at least talking a little bit of fishing. And I'll say this is a shameless endorsement for the lenses. I happened to get out last week. I live in Charleston, South Carolina, and we have, I don't know how familiar y'all are with flood tide fishing, but it's pretty unique to this area. And basically, full moons and new moons, we get an extra foot of tide that floods our marsh grass, and redfish come in on that grass, eat crabs, their tails stick out of the water. So you're sight fishing for redfish, which is cool. But so y'all were kind enough to give me these glasses, and I was like, all right, I'm going to try them out. And first thing, I love that they were lightweight. I obviously felt good about wearing them just because of what they were made out of. But I'll send y'all this. I caught a really great, it was 27, 28 inch redfish. The glasses performed well, but it was so cool being able to, I don't know, maybe I'm the only person that would nerd out on some of this, but I thought it was cool that I was wearing these glasses. Have this podcast. It was bringing this all together and catching redfish in the process. So thanks for that. I thought the glasses were great, but that's my endorsement and my fishing story for today's podcast. But I'm curious to know with y'all, it sounds like, Stephen, you said you were taking your son fishing for smallmouth and trout. What other kind of fishing do y'all like to do?
Well, so funny enough, I live on Long Island. I'm surrounded by saltwater, but I never really gravitated to that too much. My family has a house on Candlewood Lake up in Connecticut. And so I grew up on the beaches of Candlewood Lake more than I did on the beaches of Long Island. And my uncle, who actually owns a fly shop on Long Island in Baldwin, he taught me how to fish from a very young age. And he got very heavily into fly fishing at one point. And so I've spent a lot of time on the rivers fly fishing. It's probably my favorite type of fishing, being on like a shady, nice, just quiet river and just casting away. And so what my son and I are doing is, like I said, we're going to go into the Housatonic River, and we're going to fish the whitefly hatch, because that's when that hits right about now. And for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's a certain time of the year where the whiteflies are hatching. And what that means is they're literally, they rise up the pupa or a larva. They rise up to the water. They come out, the wings unfurl, and then they just take off. And then I think they like mate and do whatever for like literally a few hours, and then they drop back down to the water or wherever in the woods and stuff. And the fish go berserk, because it's basically like a buffet. It's just food all sitting across the water, and you're casting this white fly. And like, especially, and the thing is, it really turns on when it gets dark. It's not like a midday sort of thing. So it's getting, and that's when I wear my Sightmaster lens, because that's perfect for that time of night. And it the water just like rises everywhere, and you're like one fly out of like thousands, but for whatever reason you end up catching a bunch of fish. And like, you know, my son and I and my wife actually loves doing this whitefly the whitefly hatch. She's looking forward to it. It's just so much fun. I mean, we could catch like easily a dozen or more fish each, and some of them are small, but if you ever caught a smallmouth on a river, it's so much fun, because they're ferocious little fish to begin with. But you're like fighting a smallmouth, and then with the current, and sometimes you think you're catching this huge fish and it's like this long, but you had such a great time. And on a fly rod, the thing is like, you know, we're using like 4 or 5 weight fly rods, and it's just a blast. It's so much fun.
That's super cool. So that life cycle stage of those insects is why my company is Emerger Strategies.
Yeah, I love the logo.
Oh, that's cool. What about you, Dylan? You got any fishing trips planned coming up?
Nothing planned right now, but you know, I grew up on Long Island, did a bunch of fluke fishing with my grandpa. He had a boat, and we were out there quite often doing that. And then, you know, now I'm down in North Carolina, and definitely enjoy doing some more freshwater stuff at the local ponds and lakes and whatnot. So that's kind of been where my interest has shifted over the years.
Cool. Well, I hope that any anglers out there listening who are looking to support a product and a brand that's doing some cool stuff, be sure to check out Hobie. And Dylan and Steven, thank you all very much for your time, and thanks for bringing this product to market. Enjoyed talking with y'all. And if people want to check these out, where can they purchase these glasses?
Yeah, absolutely. So HobieEyewear.com, that's the place to go. It's got everything that we have in stock, from our floating collection to the whole floats to just, even some great lifestyle glasses if that's what you're looking for. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Hobie Eyewear. We got some great content up there where you can see everything in action, see our pros, give testimonials. But, like we said before, you're getting the most value out of a high quality pair of sunglasses with our brand. It's priced right from $80 to $120. It helps the environment. A lot of the styles float. The quality is right there. The lenses are unbelievable. And it has a lifetime warranty. So we stand behind the product. So anything happens, you have that peace of mind that we're going to get you taken care of. So, HobieEyewear.com. You can learn more. You can check everything out that we have to offer.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you all very much. And thanks for joining the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
All right. Well, special thanks to Dylan and Steven for joining me on the show, and for all Hobie is doing to keep plastic waste out of our landfills. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's a chance to tell me what you love about the show, and it helps others discover it too. Thanks for listening and for protecting what you love.